Hey guys, Mr. Mimikyu here, and in today's video I'm going to be showcasing Empoleon Double Ghost in the Hisui Cup. Now, basically my opponent led with a Bastiodon, I led with Empoleon, and my opponent safe swaps into Drapion while I safe swap into Froslass. Here I ended up shielding the Icy Wind, fearing it was a Shadow Ball, and here they throw at 3. I know for a fact that this is not a Shadow Ball because it would take 4. Even though like Shadow Ball is like 55 energy, while Icy Wind is only 45 energy. So we managed to win switch. They bring back in the Bastiodon, and I decided to throw the Shadow Ball here to do some big damage, and didn't do much even though I am 2 stages debuff. Here I bring in Empoleon, and I can let the Flamethrower go. It's all fine and dandy. They have a Toxicroak, and here we're going to be throwing the Drill Pick to do some big massive damage, but of course they shield it, and I bring in Driplim. The hardest counter to a Toxicroak is Driplim. Managed to get a Hex through, so that's pretty nice. Here they Sludge Bomb us. Here we can just like, just go straight for the Shadow Ball to do some heavy big damage, and they let it go. All they have is Bastiodon. Here I throw the Icy Wind because I'm stupid, and well, I'm not technically stupid, like, I want to get that debuff so that Smackdown doesn't do like big damage. Here I decided to shield the Flamethrower, like preserve health on the Empoleon. Here we could just farm all the way down. There's no way they're going to get to a move. Moving on to the next match, we got a Toxicroak lead. Now, Toxicroak is kind of troublesome for this team though, and of course they have Driplim like they did last time. Here I go for Avalanche, and they decided to shield it, and that's fine and dandy. You know what? I decided to shield again, hoping it's a Shadow Ball, but this time they double baited me. Man, I got double baited by Driplim so far in the match, and here I throw the Avalanche. They shield it, and I'm thinking I'm going to call the Icy Wind, and sure enough it was. Here I throw in the Avalanche to take down the Driplim. They bring in Licky Licky. Here I decide to bring in Empoleon. Now that they don't have any shields, they bring back in the Toxicroak. I go into Driplim. At this point, my opponent should just surrender, because there's no way they're going to win this match anyways. They throw a Mud Bomb thinking I was going to shield, but nope. I decided, let's preserve the health of Driplim. The thing is, like with Driplim, its defense isn't that great though. Like, it's so low, but yet its HP is pretty high, being tied with Giratina as the highest base HP of all Ghost type Pokemon, with a base stat of 150. Here I throw 2 Icy Winds before I go down, or maybe I could like snipe them with Empoleon, which I happen to do, and take down the Licky Licky, and that's a good game. Moving on to the next match, we got a Bastiodon lead. Man, like, there's so many Bastiodon leads. Here my opponent goes into Gastrodon, I go into Driplim. We do have to be wary of Water Pulse. Here they throw right away, which I know for a fact it's just a Body Slam, and here we could just click on Shadow Ball here to do some big damage, and of course they decide to shield it. Good play by them. Here they throw right away, which happens to be CMP. Even though if they didn't throw at CMP, then it would most likely they would have snuck. Here I decided to throw in the second Shadow Ball. I overfarmed by a bit, which is kind of unnecessary. We take it down, and they bring back in the Bastiodon. Here I go try to snipe with Empoleon, and of course they have a Garchomp. Like, oh my god, why would they bring in Garchomp? Like, what kind of idea is that? Huh? I'll say this, like, Garchomp is not something you want in the Great League. Keep it in the Master League, and we decide to double shield, it's all fine and dandy, like, I think we pretty much have this game won. Here we could just Hydro Cannon the Bastiodon and almost take it out, get to the second, and we take it down for the KO, and I didn't even use Froslass in that match, so way to go me. Here we have is a Lucario lead. Now, Luke is kind of a core breaker to this team, though. Mainly because, well, it has Shadow Ball for the Ghost types, and they say swap in the Bastiodon, and, I feel kind of screwed, though, that I went into Froslass. But at the same time, like, I know it seems silly and all, but yet Froslass was my only response. Even though it single resists the counters, I didn't want to go into Driplim and let it take more damage, even though its HP is pretty good. Here I decided to no shield. I know it sounds dumb. I should have shielded to preserve health on the Empoleon, and I didn't. Here they bring back in Luke. I throw in the Hydro Cannon. They shield it. I bring in Driplim, and they happen to have a Drapion on the back. Here I correctly shielded Shadow Ball, but it ends up becoming a Froslass. Now, our only win con here is for me to bait. And sure enough, they shielded because they thought I was going to throw the Shadow Ball, but instead I decided to bait them with an Icy Wind. Here they throw the Avalanche, you know. I could have farmed extra, but then I realized at the same time is that if I farm extra, then I would most likely lose that matchup. Here they bring in Luke, I click on Shadow Ball, the same time they click on Shadow Ball, and we end up losing a very, very close match. It was so heartbreaking. Like, I'll say this, like, Gastrodon. Now, Gastrodon is another problem to this team. Like, I can't just go straight into Drifblim because I know for a fact they would most likely have something that would hard counter me. Here they have is Drapion. Now, Drapion is like one of the most efficient safe swaps in the Hisui Cup. Though, I'll say this, like, I don't often, like, use Drapion in PvP because I don't think it's really that useful, though. Like, I'm not saying, like, Drapion is useless by any means. Like, I mean, it is a good Pokemon as a safe swap because, like, you know, with Crunch and Sludge Bomb, it can only hit super effective against, like, Grass, Psychic, Ghost, and Fairy. That's it. Like, that's only 4 types. You could also run Aqua Tail if you want to be more flexible, but the thing is, like, Aqua Tail doesn't have Stab, and I happen to win CMP against their Froslass because I have a higher attack IV, as you can see on the right side of the video. Here they bring in Gastrodon, I bring in Drifblim, and they surrendered. Next match is where they have Abomasnow. Basically, we have to count 8 Powder Snows and Shield to know that it is the Energy Ball, which we correctly do. Now, basically, Abomasnow is kind of a core breaker to the... Not kind of a core breaker, but the thing is, it does super effective against Drifblim. Here, I go into Drifblim, catching what I hope should be the Energy Ball, which it is. They bring in Bastiodon, and, you know, we all know how this plays out. I should have gone for Icy Wind, but at the same time, I'd much rather go for the Shadow Ball to add in some excessive chip damage. You know, we're going to wait our clock here, basically to bring in Empoleon. Oh no, it brings in Froslass. What the heck? How did it do that? Did my thing just crap out or something? Like, oh my gosh, why did I go into Froslass? Oh man, I feel pretty bad though. Here I go for a Shadow Ball to do some pretty good damage. And of course they shielded. I bring in Empoleon and, you know, it does big damage to me with Flamethrower. They bring in Lucario, and come to think of it, like, now that we have an energy management, we can take it down in one hit, and they bring back another Abomasnow, hoping they would reach the Weather Ball, but failed to do so, and I get off the Drill Peck for some big damage, and all I have is a Bastiodon here. I hope that an Avalanche at that health can, like, take it out, because, like, you know, like, we all know how tanky Bastiodon is with its defense, and we managed to KO, so that's very nice. Now, Hippowdon is kind of a trouble for me, because, like, if it had Thunder Fang, it would do super effective against both Empoleon and Drifblim, but since it has Fire Fang, it's only doing neutral, while it does super effective against Froslass. Here, I caught the Energy Ball, even though I should have gone into Drifblim, but at the same time, I didn't think, okay? I know. It just seems pretty wrong for me to go into Froslass against the Abomasnow, but at least you're not taking super effective from the Powder Snow, so that's very nice. Here I shielded correctly, thinking it wasn't Earth Power, and yet it was, so thank goodness I shielded correctly. They have a Skuntank, you know, it's all fine and dandy. Although I do really want to go into Drifblim, but at the same time they have a shield left. Here I decided to shield up the Crunch, you know, like, they knew they probably could have shielded this, but at the same time they didn't, because they knew that Empoleon had a Hydro Cannon loaded, so they ended up losing. Here we have is the Tangrowth. Now this one I misplayed a lot. Now I'll say this, usually when you see Tangrowth, you'd most likely expect Rock Slide, but instead they end up running Ancient Power, as you see right here. They bring in Pachirisu, I throw in the Hydro Cannon, they try to catch the Drill Peck but fail to do so, so I bring in with the Hydro Cannon. The main problem with Pachirisu is that basically it only has electric moves. Like, you could have, like, given it Swift so that it would have coverage against, like, the ground types, but instead it has an all electric move, which is kind of baffling. I'll say this, like, Hisuian Qwilfish is also kind of a core breaker, being weak to my backline, and basically, like, Hisuian Qwilfish is different from the regular one, because, like, they are both poison types, but the only difference is that you're not weak to Psychic, while regular one is, and you can't use regular, you can only use Hisuian. Here they shielded, I bring in Drifblim, hoping to catch a Power Whip, and you know what they have? They have Ancient Power, like I expected to be. You know, like, usually you expect the Rock Slide, and here I ended up not shielding the second because I'm a complete idiot. Oh my god, I feel kind of bad. Here I go for Icy Wind, and they managed to get the boost. Like, dang, now that's going to hurt me a lot. Here I try to get to the Drill Peck. Here I shield it, and then I realized I had died through the shield because I had 1 HP. Moving on to the next match, we got Drifblim here, and basically Drifblim, we all know how it goes. We click on Hydro Cannon at the same time they throw Shadow Ball / Icy Wind. Here they shield it. Here I decided to shield it, or maybe I'll call it, but instead I shielded correctly. So they bring in Drapion thinking I was going to switch, but instead I decided to stay in to have some excessive chip damage. They throw in the crunch. They didn't get the defense drop. I go for a Hydro Cannon. They ended up using both of their shields right away. Here I thought I was going to catch an Aqua Tail or something, but instead it ends up becoming a crunch, which is fine. I can just go for Icy Wind, and they managed to survive with almost like 1 HP. Like, you can barely even see it. Here I called the bait, and thank goodness I did though, otherwise then I would have been taken down. Here they bring back in the Drifblim, but at least I can bring in Froslass, you know, preserve like, you know, super effective damage. Here I decided to shield, and I ended up shielding the Icy Wind. I didn't expect that they would throw the Icy Wind, but of course their last Pokemon happens to be Lucario, and Shadow Ball almost KO. Here I counted 7, and I didn't realize that they had thrown the Shadow Ball here, which is kind of surprising, but at least we were able to take it down and then just take down the Drifblim with a Hydro Cannon, and then we secured the KO, and that's a good game. So, way to go me. Moving on to the next match, we got another Bastiodon lead. Now, I'll say this, there's been like so many Bastiodons in the Hisui Cup, like holy crap, they are everywhere. Here we throw on CMP, basically to do some big damage with the Hydro Cannon and shield up the Flamethrower. Not like it really mattered, but it's fine. You know, we can just like farm down. They bring in Toxicroak. Here I throw in the Drill Peck, and I know for a fact that they are going to shield it. Here I bring in Froslass, and they throw in the Mud Bomb. I could have easily gone into like Drifblim instead, and here I try to click on Shadow Ball, but instead they swap into Wormadam, and I decided to farm up extra energy while I'm at it though. Like, these confusions don't do a lot compared to like, say like Hypno for example, because like Hypno's confusions are pretty solid. And here they bring in Toxicroak. We can just bring in Drifblim, and they just backed out and surrendered. Moving on to the last and final match, we got Bastiodon. Now, it's kind of surprising, like Bastiodon was like the epitome of the Hisui Cup, despite being only ranked 3. Like, it is a terrible save swap, because I know for a fact that if you save swap into it, it wouldn't have helped you out anyways. Here I decided to shield up the Shadow Ball after correctly calling the Avalanche. I know it seems unnecessary, and you know, it's all like fun and games and stuff. Here we throw in the Avalanche and take down their Froslass. They bring back in the Bastiodon. Here I could have like thrown before they throw in the Smackdown, but at the same time I really didn't want to, so I let Froslass go down from the side effect of a Smackdown. Here I bring back an Empoleon. Here I click on Hydro Cannon, but fail to do so. And of course they bring in Gastrodon. Here I throw in the Hydro Cannon. They shield it up, which is kind of unfortunate. And you know, pretty much this game is over for them. I bring in Drifblim, and you know, we can tank anything really, as long as it's not Water Pulse though. Because like, usually when you see Gastrodon in like these type of formats here, you much rather run Earth Power over Water Pulse, because it does more damage. And like, the thing is, like with Water Pulse, it costs 5 more energy than Earth Power. But other than that, I think my opponent is done. They can't do anything about it. Like, you know, we can just throw in the Shadow Ball and secure the KO, and not quite. I throw in the Icy Wind, hoping to get a shield, and they ended up calling it. Like, holy crap, are they calling everything I throw? But here I can just bring in Empoleon for the KO. I had a blast using Empoleon Double Ghost. I went 10-5 with this team, which just seems pretty average though. I will say this, like, Empoleon, it has below average bulk in the Great League, but in like certain restricted cups like the Hisui Cup or even like the Great League Remix, it sure knows how to put up a fight. But the main problem is that Empoleon tends to struggle against like other like water types like Swampert, for example. And basically, like with Swampert is that it has Earthquake, while Empoleon has Drill Peck. Now, like Empoleon does like better in the Ultra League, but the main problem is that Empoleon tends to do better in the Ultra Premier Cup or even the Ultra League Premier Classic, mainly because it doesn't have to deal with like Giratina and Registeel having to kick its butt with those Focus Blasts and having to tank those Drill Pecks from Giratina Altered. But I'll say this, Empoleon is pretty stable among the Hisui Cup. But other than that, it's just a collector's item.